Hi,
Hi.
Mr. President. I was born with a disease called sarcoidosis. And from the day I was born, I was considered uninsurable. That disease started in my skin, moved to my eyes, into my optic nerves, and when I went to graduate school, into my brain. When it hit my brain, I was automatically eligible for disability for the rest of my life. I chose instead to get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, and become a professor.
Great.
It is great, except I still have similar health care problems. It costs me, with co-pays, I'm still paying almost $7,000 a year in addition to the co-pay, and should pre-existing conditions which Obamacare brought to fruition be removed?
No.
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir. Should that be removed within a 36 to 72 hour period without my medication, I will be dead. And I want to know what it is that you're going to do to assure that people like me who work hard, we do everything we're supposed to do, can stay insured. It's not my fault that I was born with this disease. It's not my fault that I'm a black woman and in the medical community I'm minimized and not taken seriously. I want to know what you are going to do about that.
So, first of all, I hope you are taken seriously. I hope you are. And we are not going to hurt anything having to do with pre-existing conditions. We're not going to hurt pre-existing conditions. And what we're doing is we're going to be doing a health care plan, pre-existing, protecting people with pre-existing conditions. As an example, yourself, it sounds like that's exactly perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're going to be doing a health care plan very strongly and protect people with pre-existing conditions. I will say this. They will not do that because they have socialized.
I have to stop you there.
Socialized
I just have to stop you there because it's just on a couple of points. Number one, Joe Biden has ran against Medicare for all in the primaries, but much more importantly, Obamacare guaranteed people with pre-existing conditions could buy insurance, guaranteed they could buy it at the same price as everyone else, guaranteed a package of essential benefits, guaranteed that insurance companies couldn't put a lifetime limit on those benefits. You fought to repeal Obamacare. You are arguing.
Well, I essentially did.
You're arguing in the Supreme Court right now to strike it down. That would do away with pre-existing conditions.
So that we can do new health care.
But you've been promising a new health care plan. I interviewed you in June of last year. You said the health care plan would come in 2 weeks. You told Chris Wallace that this summer it would come in 3 weeks. You promised an executive order on pre-existing.
I have it already.
But you've been trying to strike down pre-existing conditions.
I have it already, and it's a much better plan for you, and it's a much better plan. And
what is it?
You say Obamacare, I got rid of the individual mandate, which is the worst part of Obamacare.
You're striking down the whole law.
And that's going to be the first and last time that Donald Trump interrupts this woman. Because while he may be used to his rallies where he could march his supporters one by one off a cliff and they would all thank him on the way down, this is what real America looks like. The people who went to this ABC town hall moderated by George Stephanopoulos aren't his base. They were regular Americans. Some voted for him in 2016, some didn't, but these are people concerned with the issues actually impacting them. This isn't Chanel Rion from OAN teeing Trump up by asking why Portland insists on protecting the looters. This is an American with pre-existing conditions asking what Trump is going to do to actually help her. And his answer here goes to show that 4 years of softball interviews and the Fox News bubble has left him woefully unprepared to actually face the American people. Now, Trump repeated his usual talking point here, promising that he's going to introduce an amazing healthcare plan. It's going to be the best healthcare plan anyone's ever seen, and it's going to be cheaper than Obamacare, but also offer more coverage than Obamacare, and everyone will be covered, and no one will have to pay, and taxes will actually go down, and the doctors are all going to faint when they see it. Only Trump has been promising that since the campaign, and not this campaign. He's been promising it since 2016, and yet still we've never seen this healthcare plan. Somehow it's always 2 weeks away, and yet those 2 weeks never actually seem to get here. In actuality, not only has Trump failed to produce the plan he's been priming, he's actually trying to take what healthcare the American people do have away. He's tried to get Congress to repeal it, only to have John McCain rebuke his party's efforts. He signed executive orders bolstering junk plans that the ACA sought to eliminate, and even now, as we speak, the Trump administration is in court trying to dismantle the ACA. And in case there's any doubt, the ACA is the reason that 20 million more Americans are covered than before, meaning that dismantling the ACA leaves 20 million fewer Americans with health coverage. And Trump offers up some absurd defense, claiming that of course he needs to get rid of Obamacare because he needs to clear the way for his own big beautiful plan. A plan that, once again, doesn't exist. Meaning he wants to do away with the only law protecting people who suffer from pre-existing conditions, the only lifeline that millions of Americans have for healthcare, and we're supposed to just take him at his word that he'll replace it with a better plan that exactly 0 people have seen before. And while we're at it, I'd really love to hear about that new bridge for sale. And if you're looking for proof of just how full of it Trump is on this issue, consider that when George Stephanopoulos actually calls him out on failing to produce the plan that he's been promising would come in 2 weeks for the last several years, Trump actually says, "I have it already." Right. Apparently the solution to all of our healthcare woes in this country is just sitting in a binder on Trump's desk, and yet he hasn't gotten around to introducing it yet. He has time to hold indoor rallies in the midst of a pandemic, he has time to golf on the weekends, he has time to watch 6 hours of Fox News by his own admission, but release the healthcare plan he's been promising since 2016 that's apparently already? Sorry, he just hasn't quite gotten around to that yet. The simple fact is this: Trump might have gotten used to treating people like they're stupid, but this isn't one of his rallies. He's facing real people who understand when they're being lied to. So Trump can pretend like he's been great on this issue, but he's only showing the American people just how much of a fraud he really is. While you're here, please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deeper dive into the week's biggest stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker, Eric Swalwell, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.